pushing us into self-destruction, pushing us into self-destruction, and they make me.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to F1 Podcast. This is podcast number 112. We find ourselves, although Pep and I are in Sydney, we find ourselves coming into the first of the European races, mate, and we find ourselves at Barca. Barcelona.
Beautiful Spain, mate.
Beautiful Spain, coming up this weekend. And, mate, there's been a few things that the teams have been talking about over the last few races that wait until we get to Europe. We'll, then you'll see a difference and all this sort of thing.
Now we're here.
And here we are. This is where the bullshit stops, I guess, mate. And one of the things that I guess that's interesting is that BMW have said over the last couple of races that we're going to have a lot of new things to bolt onto the cars come Spain. But one of the things that they've come out and said is that we're not going to have any KERS for Barcelona. Mate, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on BMW in general and their thoughts going into Spain?
I've been reading a lot about this, Max, and a lot of the teams have been debating KERS or not to KERS or not to KERS.
KERS or not to KERS?
That is the question.
That is the question.
It is. And, you've got cars without KERS who are winning races, and BMW obviously has some issues with the differences between Kubica and Heidfeld in terms of weight and those sorts of things. And also, as we've talked about in previous episodes, the actual weight of the system versus the horsepower that it delivers. And then you've got other articles that are saying, just ban it. Let's just get rid of it. Like it's too expensive, it's not worth it, let's just, lose it. And I've got to say that I think that a lot of the teams are turning their back on KERS, not just BMW, Force India, there's a couple of other teams who are just saying we're not interested in KERS anymore, and it's optional for us to run it, and we're not going to run it. So I wasn't really surprised, Max, that BMW said no to KERS for this race.
Yeah, I think I've been fairly vocal, as a lot of you that watch our podcast would realise. I don't like the thing. I don't like the push to pass button. I think it's a load of shit, and I don't think it has any place in Formula One. But in saying that, to me, KERS penalises drivers in the instance of Robert Kubica, for example, a heavier driver. Robert lost a lot of weight in the 2008 season to be more competitive, and of course, when he lost the weight, he was more competitive towards the early to middle part of the season, no doubt about that. I just, I don't know. I'm a little bit sceptical about KERS still. Perhaps on circuits where there's long straights, like Malaysia, for example, where there's those two long straights.
The Shang's got a long straight.
Maybe, okay, that's fine, but potentially next year they're looking at dialing KERS up to 120 kilowatts. Yes, of course, that's going to have some impact, but I'd rather see the FIA have an agreed weight for next year, that the car and driver combined, from what I understand, is going up from 605 kilos to 625 kilos, I think. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will all correct me on that, which I think is a good thing. But KERS, I'm still not. I don't like it, and I didn't want it in Formula One, and I'm glad that BMW have turned around and said that we're not going to use it in the next race.
Yeah, as a concept, I've got to say I'm not a big fan of it either. There's a lot of banter about, Formula One should lead and provide technologies that can be used in road cars. And I say to road car manufacturers, get on with it and do your stuff.
Yeah.
We're here to race, and as you said, mate, Formula One doesn't need a push-to-pass button technology, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think that it's worth it, honestly. And I think that they should spend the time developing the engines, the chassis, whatever, and not worry about push to pass. Having said that, at the Shang, you could visibly see on that 1.2 kilometre straight that the KERS runners were pulling away from the non-KERS runners. And for me, it's just sort of a stopgap to create more interesting racing or better overtaking opportunities. And I think they can do that in other ways than just having a button, which makes it easy, because as a viewer, you're sitting there and, oh, he's just pushed the button. You know, he's not quicker, he's just pushed a button. And I don't think that it should be like that in Formula One. So I can see why BMW and other guys are turning their backs, and I wholesomely predict, Max, that KERS will be banned or removed from next year. I don't think they'll continue with it. That's my call, Max.
That's a bold statement, mate. And for me,
on the record,
let's hope you're right, because I don't think this technology, although it's wonderful and that sort of thing, I mean, adapt that to road cars by all means, but let's keep it out of Formula One. But anyway, I can see why some of you would like it. I'm just not a fan of it, and you know, let's leave it at that. Pep, the next thing that I want to talk about, mate, and this has been the hot topic ever since Braun GP won in Australia, is the whole diffuser thing.
Yeah, Renault came out with an interim diffuser last race in Bahrain. And now they've got a new floor and a new diffuser, and Ferrari has a diffuser for Barcelona. So all the big boys are coming out with their solutions to this.
And Renault were running a diffuser last race as well. So
exactly. So they're all coming, Max. And the question is, what difference will it make? Will Ferrari now be a podium in a podium position? Will Renault get podiums? I mean, will the diffuser make a difference? And there's been a lot of talk about how good the diffuser's been working, and people like Jenson Button will say, well, it's not just the diffuser, we have a quick car as well.
And Jenson Button is right, because it's not just the diffuser.
Exactly. So what will the difference make? What will you gain by having a new floor or a new diffuser? And we're about to find out in Spain, mate, this weekend.
Yeah, we are. There's no doubt about that, and we are. And I think most teams that at least have the budget are beavering away like nobody's business. In fact, who am I kidding? We know they are. Beavering away to get a double-deck diffuser on the back of their cars. That will close the gap as far as their thinking is concerned, which is fine. I can't really argue with that.
A few tenths?
Yes, potentially.
Half a second, maybe?
However, this is one component of the car. If your aero's fucked, having a rear diffuser on a car that's aerodynamically shit, or a chassis that's inherently been born bad, not probably going to do the best for you that it possibly could. It is a component of the car, and I mean, when we look back over the beginning of the season, we had our Brauns, our Williams and our Toyotas with the double-deck diffuser, and bang, they went off into the distance, and everyone else was caught napping. Okay, so let's assume that everyone else, or most of the teams with the budget, go and get this double-deck diffuser. Does that mean that they're going to be all of a sudden at the same stage, development-wise or speed-wise, as the Diffuser 3 as they've now been known? Are they going to be up there with these guys, or do they inherently have some aero problems still to sort out? We don't know.
But like you say, mate, you've got those three teams who have diffusers, and Williams has been very quick in practice and a little bit in qualifying, but race pace, not so much.
No.
Toyota have got, good qualifying pace, and they've got a few podiums, but they haven't actually done what Braun has done. So you're right, the diffuser is obviously going to help, but
is that down to the drivers, or is that down to the machinery? I mean, this is the question. When it comes to Toyota and and Braun, who knows? Is it a whole Trulli and Glock thing, or is it a Button and a Barrichello thing? I mean, who knows? I mean, this is what we're waiting to find out.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to film again on Sunday, just before the race, or probably what are we talking, 8-10 hours before the race or something.
Yeah.
And we're going to give our tips and talk a little bit more about Barcelona. So we'll see you for that video then.
All right, guys, have a good weekend.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.